What a game. Unfortunately for Oil Country, it ends 5-4 in double OT in favor of the Florida Panthers. Absolutely thrilling Stanley Cup final game. This series even up at 1 going back to South Florida. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show live on location at the Canadian Ice House. This place was rocking, still going pretty good. Obviously disappointed, but man, when the Oilers tied that game up with 17.8 seconds left, Corey Perry's goal, it was a nut house. Obviously not the case right now, but we have a lot to talk about in this one. Joaquin Gage, our game analyst, standing by, and we've got Hernan Salas back at EST Global HQ. You can text us 780-218-9999. Get into the nasty chat if you're watching on YouTube as well. You know the routine. And we are going to kick this bad boy off. Of course, GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. Joaquin Gage. Do I even say that was a bad goal to end it? Do you want to get to other elements of the game first?
It's a breakaway, Tommy. It goes 5-hole. I guess Marchand scored 5-hole the one before. I can see that all of a sudden goalies shouldn't allow any goals going 5-hole, but there's...
You're damn right.
But it was a great game. You can't say you weren't entertained by that game. But the Oilers were the better team, I believe, in the overtime periods. They looked more assertive than the Florida Panthers. Panthers seemed like they were hanging on just for that one opportunity, and they got it. I don't know what it is with the amount of breakaways. Like they mentioned it on the broadcast too. That
I have a theory.
Go for it.
Somebody got caught flat-footed on both of them.
Recognition of danger, right?
That's a better way to describe it. Thank you.
Recognition of danger. And, we talked about today how Paul Maurice said this series, there's no BS in this series, where what he meant by that is there's no shortcuts taken by anyone. There's always in good position. They're always doing something to be above the puck. You hear that phrase a lot too. Mm-hmm. And you have to recognize when it's a 50-50 puck and someone's blowing the zone, you might get a great chance on the offensive side, but if you don't and you're the last guy there, it's going back one-on-one with your goaltender. So Skinner, like I always, even though the Reinhart breakaway, he missed the net, I kind of still count that as a lot of good of what Skinner did. Like he was in great position, top of the crease, and made Reinhart shoot the puck.
Yeah,
missed the net. Right?
Yeah.
But of course, you want your goaltender to make saves on breakaways, but you can always trace back how does a guy get that good a chance on your goalie late in the game, and it was I think fatigue kind of came into play there. But just the recognition of where the danger was, and that's what happens in overtime, and it came back to bite the Oilers.
Gager, I love that term. I had to write it down. Recognition of danger, pardon me. Well said, sir. You are a linguist when it comes to the sport of hockey. All right, let's get the Latino heat in here. Nancito, your initial thoughts on that 5-4 OT loss tonight?
What a game, boys, though, first off. We didn't think we were going to get a game like game one. This one outdid it, man. That first period was unbelievable. I can do without all the icings in overtime, boys. It was crazy today. But in the end, listen, guys, we said it last game. It could have went either way. Tonight could have went either way, right? These are two excellent teams just going toe-to-toe. Tkachuk was more involved. I thought for the Florida Panthers, Forsling was an absolute monster, guys. He was great. I loved Wallman's game. Listen, guys, there's not much to pick apart here on the negative. There is a few. Yes, I know. And Bouchard struggled a bit. And Tommy, you're gonna break it down in the in the scoring summary there that Bouchard twice, and then you thought it was going to go the Oilers' way with the Marchand chance that hits the post and Klingberg's able to clear.
Yeah.
With the breakaway from center, you're like, okay, this is setting up for the Oilers to win this. Both teams had excellent looks. And listen, guys, it was a 5-4 game. I thought both goalies were excellent, man. And if you're calling for a picker, do yourself a favor and stop watching hockey. Like, seriously. Because if that's the case, then Florida should go to Vitek Venesen because they're both giving up goals, but they've been excellent. And, yeah, horrible breakdown on the overtime goal. It's a breakaway. Of course you want to save, but it's two good teams, guys. It's two excellent teams going toe-to-toe. I thoroughly enjoyed that game, man. It was absolutely fantastic. And guys, the Oilers are just the comeback vets, man. They make it happen. Tommy, Gage, I'm just gonna give you this stat from because it's leading into what I'm saying. The Oilers in the final 3 minutes of the third period, these playoffs, have 15 goals for by 9 different players, only 3 goals against. Like, this team is never out of it. And that's courtesy of Brian Swain. So, Tommy, a split, you still got home. I mean, you're still gonna, you got the home ice. This is why it's important. But you go to Florida and you look for a split, or you take 2, man. Let's go.
Hey, it's not like the Florida Panthers are gonna bend over and wilt away and be like, hey, we're done. We can't. Sorry, we don't have the juice in the tank. This is a championship team. And I think there was a lot of moments tonight where they showed that they're still worthy defending champions looking to repeat. So, good reminder. We've got a great series coming. All right, this is the breakdown brought to you by South Fort Chev. Go see Daniel and his team in the fort, and they'll give you $1,000 extra credit on your trade-in. Drive a little, save a lot at South Fort Chev. See dealer for details at www.southfortchev.com. Okay, let's go into the scoring summary from this one. And the stats, Sam Bennett would open things up, just 2:07 in on the power play from Nate Schmidt and Evan Rodriguez. Then it would be Evander Kane with the equalizer at 7:39, his 6th of the postseason from Arvidsson and Bouchard. Nice shot by Kane, streaking in, posting in. Then Evan Bouchard would make it 2-1 Edmonton at 9:19, his 7th of the playoffs. Fired the first one. It gets blocked. I think it was Barkov who stopped it. And then Bobrovsky couldn't find it, and Bouchard just snipes it. Low blocker. McDavid and Draisaitl, the assists. Later, Seth Jones would get an opportunity at 11:37. He gets his 4th of the postseason. It was Kasperi Kapanen who could not get the puck out at the line, off the wall. Schmidt to Luostarinen to Jones. Really nice. He had the wide open cage to bang it in there, his 4th, 2-2. Then Leon Draisaitl on the power play, his 10th of the playoffs. Ridiculous play by Connor McDavid. Absolutely ridiculous. Had everybody in awe. Draisaitl's 10th on the power play, like I was saying, from McDavid and Bouchard at 12:37, 3-2 Edmonton after one in the second period. It would be Florida getting the only goals. Dmitry Kulikov, his 2nd of the postseason, banks it in off of Bouchard, if I recollect, because there were so many goals. And that happened, it felt like forever ago, for Hagee and Jones, the helpers there, 3-3 at 8:23. Then at 12:09, another special teams goal, a shorthanded marker from Brad Marchand sent in on the breakaway. Somebody did not have good recognition of danger and got caught flat-footed, and Marchand snuck by and got his 6th of the playoffs from Lundell, 4-3 Florida with the shorty, 12:09 time of that goal. And then it would be in the third period, tied at 4, goalie pulled, 17.8 seconds left, officially 19:42 time of the goal. Corey Perry bangs home some garbage, his 8th of the playoffs. The dog, the worm, whatever you want to call him, sends this one into overtime. Wallman and McDavid, the helpers. Nothing doing in OT1. Shots after OT1, 45-39 Edmonton. And then in OT2, Brad Marchand, another breakaway, somebody with poor recognition of danger, as my friend Joaquin Gage called it. And Marchand tucks home the breakaway goal, his 2nd of the night from Lundell. at 8:05. 5-4 is your final. Shots on goal tonight, 46-43 in favor of the Edmonton Oilers. What else do we need to get to? The face-off percentage, 54.3 to 45.7% favor of Florida. Power play for the Oilers, 1 for 6. That's good for 16.7%. PK, 3 for 4, so it leaks another one. And then the shorty, not good. Hits, 60 to 39 in favor of Florida. Block shots, 24-15 in favor of Edmonton. Giveaways, 23 for the Oils, 17 for the Panthers. And then takeaways officially, 12 for Florida, 5 for Edmonton, and then 5-4 Florida is your final score in double OT. Couple of texts to rattle off to before I pass it off to Gager and Hernan. Barry says, missed opportunity for the Oilers. Now the series is going to be a grind. Mike in Thunder Bay says, obviously these teams are evenly matched, but the Oilers put themselves in a bad position in the second. That second period was just awful to watch. Thought the Oilers were the better team for the most part of the game. Mike in Thunder Bay makes a good point. That was the second straight game now and in the Stanley Cup final where the Panthers came back with a vengeance in the second period, really forced the Oilers' hand. And tonight they got the better of the Oilers on the score sheet in that second period. Edmonton obviously had to rally late in the game to equalize it again. But Joaquin and Hernan, I also thought that Edmonton wasn't as sharp as they were in game number 1. Gage, I'll start with you. Do you think that's a fair comment?
Yeah, I would have to say that, and I'm just going to look. Let's just look at the second period here, Tommy, because I think we can all agree that was the Florida Panthers had the majority of the play in that second period, and the second period is different because you do get the chance, if you can continue offensive zone time, to start making changes with personnel while in the zone. And it creates a little bit of havoc because all of a sudden you get a little fatigued and all of a sudden you see a guy leaving, but the recognition of seeing someone come off the bench is also sometimes difficult. And both teams do it well. The Edmonton Oilers in the past have had periods where it just seems like the puck is in the offensive zone the whole second period. But what they couldn't do, what they did last game, better than they did in game 2 from game 1, is they were able to just at least relieve some of the pressure of the consistent forward check and play of the Florida Panthers. Florida Panthers have owned it in the second period here. They have to find a way to get the wind blowing in the other direction in this second period because that's where they got their juice. And although in the game 1, they had a little bit of success, but game 2 is where the Florida Panthers are able to score some goals, get ahead, and kind of put the Edmonton Oilers back on their heels and have to go into the third chasing again. And, that's with having the lead going into the second. So something's going to have to be a little bit corrected there. But I mean, the first period, guys, like just a complete fireworks show of emotion and tension and great plays by both teams. It was a fantastic period to watch. Probably a little bit of nightmarish for coaches, just with some, but a lot of it was great plays by offensive players. This series, like you said, Tommy, it's not like the Florida Panthers are going to back down and say, you know what, we've won one. They won another one too. Like the one thing that I saw tonight from the Florida Panthers was a team willing to do everything possible to win their second Stanley Cup in 2 years. And they are going to be a formidable adversary. It's the best two teams in the NHL battling right now. I can't wait for game 3. We're only in game 2 was like a game that you see in 5, 6, and 7, right? This is it. To win this series, you're going to have to go into deep waters and figure things out about yourself that you didn't know existed, I think, to win this thing. It's a knockdown, crawl, scratch, grab, punch, kick, stab kind of series. And whoever can do that on a consistent basis and ride that fine line is going to be holding the Stanley Cup at the end of it.
Well said, Gager. Well said. Nancito, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, throughout, I thought Edmonton was better in game one. Very close, very close. But I got to give it to Florida. Even in the third period, guys, they were shutting them down until the goalie was pulled. Like that was a very good third period by the Florida Panthers, holding that lead until the final minute with the extra attacker. So yeah, it's two like I've been saying, it's two top teams here going toe to toe, but I think Florida had a little bit more today. Brad Marchand showed up. Like I already mentioned, Forsling. I thought Lundell was fantastic too in this game. There was a lot of good Oilers in this game as well. Bouchard, this is back-to-back games, guy, where, again, he's not Bouchard in the first two games against LA, but Bouchard, he's not. It's the first time we can bring up some bad play from him, and it's happened. Last game he had 3 turnovers. Today, like Gager said, his just is what was it? The word he used again, Gager? Tommy.
I have it right here. Recognition of danger.
Yeah, I was just watching the goal on Twitter again, and he makes such a bad read at the blue line, guys. Like, and that's why the breakaway happens. And then I know people are giving him heck for his back check, but he stops like 3/4 of the way there because Draisaitl's on him, right? Draisaitl's already bugging him, so I get why he kind of just stops. He's not getting there. But Bouchard's got to pick it up just a little bit here, and they got to get going, guys. Like you said, Game 3 is going to be the same, man. It's going to be one period is going to be the Oilers, one period is going to be Florida, then one period they're going to be even. It's probably going to go to overtime again, and both teams are going to have crazy chances. It's just a great chess match that we're seeing right now. And but I think Florida, you got to give them the edge tonight. I thought they were slightly better than the Edmonton Oilers. That Oilers a little bit sloppy in their own end as well.
Well said, Nanso, as well. All right, a couple more texts to get to here. 780-218-9999. Get to the nasty chat. Edmonton falls 5-4 in OT in game 2. Yeah, guys, I think you guys said it. We're going to see like 4 more of these types of games, 3 more of these games minimum. Like, these are going to be battles. I don't think anybody's walking away with one in this series. EA says missed opportunity and an unacceptable loss at home. 1-1 favors Florida immensely. What? I can't. And I feel like EA, his text is probably there are probably a lot of fans that have gone to that way of thinking about this series after what happened tonight.
Yeah.
But it's such a razor thin margin between these two teams. They're right there like this. So, and I shouldn't be surprised to hear that sentiment. And I'm not knocking EA because, I mean, it's a heartbreaking loss. I'm just saying, like, whoa. Like, this morning, this afternoon, you're hearing all like, this Oilers team, the magic is there. Can you feel it? Like, can't beat kid. Like, they're never down. They're down, but they're never out. And they got that dog in them. And then they showed again tonight and wasn't their sharpest performance. And then they lose because they make that mistake and Florida capitalizes. And yes, it's heartbreaking. But I don't know if unacceptable is the proper way to describe that loss tonight.
Tommy, because listen, and the fans are it's in the moment right now, right? They're very emotional, they're angry. But when you sit back and look, you can't look at this Oiler team, guys, and be like, that's unacceptable and this is horse bleep and this team they're at a disadvantage. Have you not watched them all playoffs, guys? Even tonight, they tied it again at 4.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't at their best. Like, I get you're emotional. It's in the moment. It just happened. I get you're pissed off. And you're this close, like Tom said. Guys, both games could have gone either way. Like, you don't think Florida after game 1, their fans were like, man, we could have had that one too. So I get it, but like, if you've watched this team through every game this playoffs, please stop overreacting. Like, this team is fine. They're going to be fine. This was never going to be easy, Gager, even though I picked a gentleman's sweep. And you know what? You can't have a gentleman's sweep if you lose one, right? So let's pump the brakes a little bit on that this team is in such disarray right now because they've lost one game, guys. It's their third loss since game 2 of the LA series, Gager.
The one thing that you got to really think about is because people are saying, "Oh, Bobrovsky, the saves he was making." So when you really look at it, the Oilers were able to generate really good scoring chances against Bobrovsky, right? Where and he made some saves, but the Florida Panthers can't keep allowing the Edmonton Oilers to have good looks like that, right? That's a recipe for disaster if they keep doing that. And I would give the edge to goalie Bob tonight. Like he took a lot of goals away from the Edmonton Oilers, but you can't keep playing like that against this team. They will find a way to score against you, and they still potted 4. You know, and you don't really want to have to score 5 to win hockey games.
Yeah.
But I think even. I'll give this game to the Florida Panthers. They were the better team overall over the course of 5 periods of hockey. But the Oilers are right there. I'm reading some of these texts. It's the sky is falling. This is buckle in. It's going to be like this for the rest of this series. 3 or 4 games more of the exact same thing. This is what every game between these two teams is going to look like. They're not going to back down.
Yeah, and guys, both goalies have given up the same amount of goals. Both goalies have made incredible saves. But now everybody's asking for Pickard, man, and in Florida, everybody's like, Bob's fine. Like, Skinner's fine, guys.
If Kapanen scores on that one play at the end, no one's talking about it though. It's
good point.
Fine.
Good point.
Right. So it's we're talking about Skinner, how he was able to hold the fort after that and get back and win things. So these are what happens. I'm really looking forward to the next game when it gets down to Florida. It's the odd numbered games are always very interesting because one team takes the lead for sure. Yeah. Right. So it's a big game in that one because either way, the game 4 becomes going back to Edmonton with the chance to possibly win or a must win kind of scenario. So we're 2 games in. 2 games into this series, and the emotions are already at a peak level, which is fantastic.
All right, I have a couple texts. I like some themes and some things that did occur in this game that people are reminding me because it was such a long game, 2 overtimes, a lot of goals, a lot of action, a lot of momentum changes. So Timber Woodsman says, "Are you guys just glossing over how dirty that team is? Who on the Oilers will be accidentally falling on Bob next game?" And we're not gonna. I'm glad Timber Woodsman brought up the dirtiness because Stu Skinner came back and he was okay after he was fallen on by Sam Bennett, and there's no call there. I thought Bennett conveniently fell on Skinner, and I was like, I'm starting to get shades of 06 here, being an old man like I am. But we're not going to gloss over how dirty they are, but is there another way to describe that type of play from the Panthers? And should be no surprise to any of us that Sam Bennett is the one mucking it up like that. Right, Nanso?
I mean, what do you expect when you have Bennett, you have Ekblad, you have Tkachuk? They're greasy, man. Mikkola, I didn't know Mikkola had that mean streak in him, man. That guy's an absolute menace out there. But, hey, the Oilers got guys, too. Evander Kane, Corey Perry. I saw a tweet earlier today because a lot of people were complaining they're going after Skinner, right? Because they were jabbing, they were doing stuff to get him off his game. It's very simple, Gager and Tommy. Do the same thing to Bobrovsky. Yeah. Right? And then they did. Connor Brown on one when they froze it, stopped right in front and just poked him with the stick. Arvidsson gave him a snow shower there. That's what you have to do, man. You can't get caught up in it and get upset with it. Guys, the Florida Panthers are not going to stop doing what they're doing. You saw on the bench when Bennett got the penalty and Tkachuk went in there with him and patted him on the chest saying, "Good job, buddy," when he fell on Skinner. Yeah. I mean, it came back to haunt them because McDavid went full superstar mode on that brilliant goal that, we got to break down eventually. I know
that was amazing.
Just unbelievable. But, for Oiler fans, this is the Stanley Cup Finals, man. If we can't be crying about this. Florida Panthers are going to be greasy. The Oilers can be greasy, too. They have a lot of guys that can do the same things.
Gager?
Yeah, no, it's the accidentally on purpose with Bennett. The refs got the good call, right? And they talk. And this is why I think that Coach Knoblauch called the goaltender interference in the first place on that goal, because they showed it in between periods, Tommy, on the broadcast of Bennett doing the exact same thing in the Leafs series, in the Carolina series. Just he seems to let's just say he never falls forward. Okay, he's always falling backwards, which is interesting to me. He knows where the goalie is, and they have to keep an eye on it, because it was a little. Look, I don't think his intent is to injure, but I think it's to get under the skin. But unfortunately, that line is so fine that you can injure. Like he went down, that angle that he went down on Skinner's leg, with where his ankle was, where his knee was. That's Dwayne Rolson territory, like you had mentioned in 06, right, Tommy? So I don't like that aspect of it. But hey, there's a goalie at the other end too. So get to the front of that net. There's not a shortage of cross checks for accidentally on purpose falling backwards into Bobrovsky either. So Hammurabi's law, eye for an eye, a little bit, and a little more participation in the dark arts in those categories, because I don't want to say, no, I would say the Florida Panthers kind of won the dark arts battle in that first period. They came, like I had mentioned before the game, I thought they would be just complete, greasy, battling outsiders, leather jackets, slick back hair, knives, just like Hernan likes that silly movie. But the
Outsiders? Is that what you want to reference?
Yeah.
Is the Outsiders, Pony Boy?
Yeah, but the Oilers have to be the Socias, come back with their
good dig, nice.
You know who has to step up, boys, in that department? Trent Frederick, man. Where the hell is that? Like, seriously, where's that Boston Trent Frederick? We haven't seen him once.
Good point. I don't disagree with that at all.
No, he has to enter into the series. And there was a couple guys that, at the end of the game, you're looking at the rosters, goes, God, did he play tonight? So there was a few passengers, I thought, on the Edmonton Oilers lineup tonight that they need more from, because it's going to take all 20 to win the series.
Frederick, 16-21 time on ice tonight. 2 penalty minutes, 3 shots, 4 hits, and 133% of the faceoffs he took on this night. But yeah, it would be nice to see him a little more in your face of the Florida Panthers. I was chuckling. There's a debate between the goaltending, but a lot of love for Stu Skinner. And there was a text that I saw. Oh, I hope I still have. Yes, I've got it. Haggard Prospector says, I'd fall 200 feet just to land on Bobrovsky next game. Well played, Haggard Prospector. That's a funny one. I appreciate that one. Okay, let's go to the text side, 780-218-9999. This one from Doesn't Sign Text Guy says, hey, Joaquin, how hard is a quote-unquote curveball like that when they lose control on a breakaway from a goalie perspective? Talking about that Marchand winner there.
Well, yeah, it's not, like I said this, I was talking to Reid about it, actually. Just back at the Connor McDavid goal with Hintz on him. He, as a goaltender, he gets on one side. Oh, he can't cut back that way because my player will guard against it. So it's almost better if they just come down straight on a breakaway, because someone can get their stick in there. It causes a little bit more chaos than what actually happens. Like you can't tell me Marchand meant to do that when he came down on that breakaway. It manifested itself because he was getting pressured from behind. So it can create a little bit of problems. It's not a normal type of breakaway when he's getting pestered like that. So those types of things can happen. But yeah, Marchand, man, he's the stats of him and Perry being the oldest guys are scoring in Stanley Cup finals. It's amazing what these two are able to accomplish at their age. I like them better when they're both playing on Team Canada. You gotta tip your hat to Marchand. He is an absolute gamer. Like, it is one of the best pickups at the trade deadline. I think you're seeing why kind of he wore the C in Boston for all those years. He will do everything and anything to win a hockey game and definitely win a Stanley Cup.
Hey, one little snippet note on Marchand and the best in the world and the guys who become legends of the game. They have these little footnotes beside their name when all is said and done. But on this day, 14 years ago, June 6, 2011, Marchand also scored a breakaway goal shorthanded. That time on Roberto Luongo in the Stanley Cup final. It's one of those, like, the universe, stars align, if you want to believe in that kind of thing. But how convenient that stuff like that does happen. So I just thought that was a neat little stat to point out. Yes.
And not just that, Oiler fans were probably cheering so hard when Marchand scored that goal.
How ironic. Yeah. That would be so ironic. And you're probably right. Okay, let's go inside the Oilers locker room and hear from Corey Perry first. Okay, how does that sound?
Perfect. Here's Corey Perry.
All right.
Up and down. We made some great plays, and they capitalized on some plays that we probably could have been there or whatever it is. And that's hockey. It's hockey. One mistake and that it gets magnified, and it did tonight.
When you score at late to tie a game and go into overtime, I'm wondering, do you carry momentum into overtime, or is the intermission there kind of reset everything?
You have to reset. You have to.
Does it reset for everybody?
It resets for everybody. It's a next goal wins. It's but you can take some momentum. But we came in, we had to catch our breath and get ready for the overtime, and unfortunately we didn't get that bounce.
Going in the second period, second time in a row, it seems like the long change is giving you guys problems getting hemmed in. What are you seeing in that second period that they took control of both games?
I think there was both ways. It was like that. That's hockey. It's a long change, and we talk about it all the time. You have them in, you roll the lines over and keep them tired, and that's the way we play. And they found a few shifts where they're going to do that as well. They're a great team, and so it's just that's just hockey. One of those things.
You guys aren't a chip it on the glass and out team, so is that something?
Okay.
He says you guys like to keep the puck.
Well, yeah, we do, but at the same time, you have to read pressure sometimes. We are a team that likes the puck and move it and make plays and skate with it through a neutral zone. But at some points, you have to chip it out.
These are just a little bit tougher, given it's a long game, it's a late night, it's a grind, and to lose it, in double overtimes, it just make it a little bit tougher than push through.
We lost with 0.4 seconds left in the, whatever, a couple series ago. Those are tough. You go home. Yeah, you can think about it, but tomorrow you get some rest and get on the plane and be ready for Game 3. They're a good team. Like I keep saying, they're a good team. They're going to push us to the max, and we're going to push them to the max. And it's frustrating right now, but we're in the final for a reason.
You know what? Listen, that's a good interview to start with from Corey Perry, because it kind of gives you a sense of where the Oilers are. And listen, this guy's been through how many Stanley Cup finals? He won his first one. He's lost a bunch more. This is his sixth. So I don't know. That didn't sound like a guy that was rattled or surprised or fazed by anything that happened tonight and overly emotional. And if I was looking at it from a fan's point of view, an Oilers fan's point of view, and I heard Corey Perry, I would kind of feel a little bit assured that, Game 3, they're going to regroup. They should be okay. They're going to have a push. How do you guys look at it? Gage, we'll start with you.
One of the quotes by Carter Verhaeghe, they had it up before the game. I mean, you've heard it tons, but you only learn from losses, right? You don't learn from winning. You learn from heartache and disappointment, and that's what you take forward with you. And that's, I mean, Corey Perry alluded to it. They lost with 0.4 seconds before, right? Like in this playoff run, it's you compartmentalize a lot of different things in here. Yeah, you go home, you feel bad, but you get on the plane. The series is 1-1. You're still like you need to win 4, and you're probably going to lose a couple in that time frame. But you still have 3 hockey games to win. It all starts in game 3. The mindset of these guys doesn't change, right? They're still most likely singular focused on the next game, the next win, to get closer to that total of 4. You don't dwell on the past and think that this was. You can't. These guys wouldn't get to this level if they were worried about that, or else they'd still be worried about some game they lost in junior 20 years ago, right? It's ridiculous to think that way. That's why they're the best in the world. Now, it's who can do it the quickest too. Like, you don't think the Florida Panthers went into the dressing room and you know they were able to collect themselves and get back out there and play a strong first overtime period right after that type of heartache. You gotta have that goldfish memory, so to speak, and move on. Now, I'm curious about going down to Florida, right? Florida did what they had to do, or probably their whole goal. When you always hear it, they come here for the split, go home and take care of business at home, and now it's the Oilers' turn to be the spoilers. A lot of people have picked Florida to win this thing still. I'm sure you'll hear more and more now that they've got the split going home. I think it's in the Oilers seem to play better when their backs are against the wall or considered an underdog to a point. And I'm sure they're looking forward to proving everyone wrong again, like Connor mentioned so eloquently last year in the playoffs when they were down 3-0.
Yeah, it's. I mean, obviously, you always want to win in 4 and 5, but guys, like we have fun with the gentleman sweep and all that, but we knew this was going to be a tough series, and I mean, a split in Florida is you come back, you have home ice, and it's good. I mean. The Oilers can win in Florida, guys. Like some people here on the Nasty Chat are acting like it's over. Like, come on, guys,
They've already done it.
That's what surprises me is like they just lost in double overtime, and it's over. Come on, guys.
They've lost 3 games, Tom, since Game 2 of the LA series in the first round. They've lost 3 freaking games, and all of a sudden the regular suspects are out. Oh, they're done. They're done. And when they win, they're going to be there with the eating crow there, but it is what it is, man. I don't think the Oilers are going to go into Florida and get lose 5-1, or I think both games there are going to be just like what we saw here at Edmonton. It's going to be crazy, but the Oilers this playoffs, it just blows my mind that people still doubt this team. I think they're going to be fine, and I think if they get a split, more than happy to come home with a split, guys.
Yeah, listen, dust yourself off, have some pride. Go back and tighten things up and prove that you're the better team. You get another opportunity in a couple of days. That's the heart of a champion. That's how you should be approaching it. Now, as a fan, it's the emotions, the roller coaster ride. I get that, but I wouldn't be giving up on this team at all. I'd be like, all right, well, they didn't play their best, and they still had an opportunity to win in double over. Like, I'd be like, okay, game on. This is the beauty of the Stanley Cup Final. So that's just me. I like how we answered that one, but I just found it interesting, and that is, we're starting to see some of that mentality. Like, oh my God, no. There's a lot of hockey left to be played, and a lot of really good hockey, and that's the best part. Okay, we're gonna go back inside the locker room. When we do that, we'll come back with Joaquin, get his final thoughts going into Game 3, and then Reid Wilkins will also be joining us. More of your text 780-218-9999. Get into the nasty chat as well. Let's hear from Leon Draisaitl.
I mean, obviously, we got to look on the other side, and it's a breakaway. It squeaks through. Yeah.
That's a grind of a game. Maybe compare it to the first one in terms of just the tightness of it overall and how close
close it seems?
Yeah, I mean, every game is tight at this time of year. Two really good teams. So, yeah, it's never going to be easy. So, regroup and get ready for Game 3.
What do you see in that second period, Leon? Because it's the second time. They seem the long change seems to give you guys problems, especially if you get him in your own end there.
Yeah, I think we just lost our legs a little bit. Weren't as quick to recover pucks, and they're going to have their push, of course. So, something to look at.
When you lose a game like this, it's such an emotional high and low. I guess you got 2 days to recover. I guess is that a good thing? I guess
I mean, this time of year, it's you gotta move on. There's no time and thinking about it too long. Obviously, it stings right now, but yeah, we have to move on.
I could ask you about that assist from Connor when on the carpet and walked around the whole team.
Yeah, I mean, it's one player in the world that can make that.
All right, that was Leon Draisaitl discussing his team's 5-4 loss in overtime. Reid Wilkins about to slide in here. Final thoughts from you, Gager, going into game number 3, and then if there's anything that stood out to you from Leon Draisaitl there, lay it on us.
It's like the boys in the morning say, it's not a series until someone loses at home, so series on, I guess, is what you say right now. And a pissy Leon is a good Leon. I'll say about that with him. It stings now. Nothing you can do about it. Squeaks through. There were chances to win this game. You recognize the bad, you take the good, and you move forward and try to go get Game 3.
Joaquin, you put in a hell of a shift tonight, and we appreciate you. Thank you very much, sir.
All right, boys. Take it easy.
That was the breakdown with our game analyst, Joaquin Gage. A huge round of applause for Gager stepping up today and filling in for Matt Cassian as we welcome in Reid Wilkins. Hello, Reid. Rick, you're fresh from the arena.
I am, buddy.
You want me to do the liner?
There we go.
Oh, you get nice and close. Here, I'll rattle off the liner as we get set for Reid's Read. Brought to you, as always, by Edmonton Garrison Memorial Golf and Curling Club. Full-in golfers. Edmonton Garrison Memorial Golf Club is open to the public, and memberships are still available. Join the ranks today and experience top-tier golf with a proud military tradition. For more info, visit egmgolf.com to enlist. The host of the Reid Wilkins Show, Monday to Friday, 3 to 6, right here on EST with Jay Milne. It's a little sloppy in here as I take a look around the ice house. Would you say it is Friday? Would you say the Oilers were a bit sloppy with the puck at times?
Yeah, they were. I thought the second period was like I know you win the game with overtime, and as I talk about, late game execution is vital, but I also don't want to ignore other key things that happened. And I thought the second period was vital tonight for a couple of reasons. First of all, the Oilers got out of the first period with a 3-2 lead. By the way, one of the best Stanley Cup final periods I have ever witnessed.
Amazing hockey.
Like, I got a half page of notes just from the first period, and then a half page for the rest of the game combined. Amazing hockey, exciting, disorganized at times, wild at times. And the Oilers got out with the lead. And then in the first 2 minutes of the second period, so Florida started the second period with a power play. The Oilers PK finished it off. Bouchard gets a 2-on-1 out of the penalty box. Bobrovsky saves it. Bouchard takes that pass from McDavid. Bobrovsky saves it. Those were both in the first minute, 56 seconds of the second period. Right. So it didn't get to 4-2. Now, 2-goal leads are not insurmountable, but still, it would have been 4-2 Oilers, and they would have had a lot of momentum. And then Florida dominated, and we know they have a good forecheck. I mean, I'm not surprised to see them do this. But I thought they were a step sharper and quicker tonight than they were in Game 1. And you see with the Panthers, when they forecheck, they do not hesitate. Like, they go. When the defenseman pinches, he goes. And what they're also good at is they have it's like they have a secondary forechecker ready to help as well. So they're right on top of you. The Oilers couldn't get organized. They couldn't pass the puck out of their own end efficiently. And then in the second period with the long changes, it's harder to change. And that's when Florida took control of the game. But having said that, again, the Oilers fight back as they have, really all season long, because they had a lot of dramatic goals and overtime wins in the regular season as well. I know they didn't win this one, but Perry ties it with 17.8 seconds left. And then, overtime, you got to finish a chance. Florida had 2 breakaways in overtime.
Yeah.
One in the first overtime, one in the second. Second one goes in. Big shot by Ekholm, rims around, and then Knoblauch, I don't know if you got to play Knoblauch yet.
Not yet.
He said, everybody's going for offense. Tough read for Bouchard off the wall.
Yep.
Marchand takes off and scores. And it looked like, I've only seen the replay once. It looked like he missed his first try and then got it on the second tap. Is that right?
How would you describe that, Hernan?
Look at it again.
Yeah, because he had Draisaitl. And the other thing, too, that was interesting on that back check from Draisaitl, who caught up, is Draisaitl didn't go to the close side of Marchand. He tried to go around Marchand, and it kind of, I don't know, if I was in a perfect world, not if I was, because I couldn't catch up. In a perfect world, do you guys think that Draisaitl should have cut to the inside of Marchand instead of going to the outside for the stick lift, try to impede him? Because that's what he did. He went to the outside, try to catch him and lift his stick instead of going to the inside, maybe trying to force him off the puck and not allowing that second chance at the puck that Marchand got that eventually tucked through the pads of Stu Skinner.
And Reid, I'm looking at the goal. It almost looks like it's more off Skinner twice than Marchand hitting it twice. Because Marchand makes the move and then he skates off, and then you kind of see the puck kind of take a weird bounce off the pad and go into the net. So I don't know if you got a double touch on that one.
Okay. Yeah, and in terms of, I don't know, I'd have to watch again, Tom, but that's one of those things. If Leon Draisaitl thinks he can check a guy taking a certain angle, I guess I trust him.
Same. It's hard to...
It's easy to say just go take the shortest path.
And I should have prefaced my diatribe with that.
But, the Florida got maybe a bit of a bounce. Maybe Bouchard could have backed off sooner, sure. And then you got a guy... that's why they got him.
He's been clutch.
That's why he's... there's a reason Brad Marchand is for the teams he doesn't play for, is one of the most hated players in the National Hockey League.
Right. That is very true.
Because he is annoying, and he's also very good. He's it's one thing if he were a pest, but he never scored, and you could kind of laugh at him.
Yeah.
But he also scores huge goals. I've criticized a lot of things he's done over the years, but he's an excellent player. And, he knew what he was doing on that breakaway, too.
Big game player. Brad Marchand does it again. Couple of goals, one shorthanded, another in overtime, double overtime, as the Florida Panthers win it 5-4 and even up this Stanley Cup final. Ryan from Saskatchewan texts in, says, the Oilers' puck management was an issue tonight, in my opinion. What a series, though. Zero margin for error. Unbelievable hockey, an absolute war. It's a pleasure to watch. Have a good night, fellas. I like that text because it kind of sums it up. I feel the same way that Ryan from Sask does about this series. We have, Reid, I know you were busy and working the press conferences. We have had some people with the sentiment saying, oh no, it's over, that was an unacceptable loss. And I understand frustration and the aftermath, the immediate aftermath of a loss like that in such a high stakes game, but I would not feel the same way if I was an Oilers fan that this series is over because they lost one game in overtime.
Well, no, I guess we'll find out if the Panthers win the next 3 games after this. Credit to them, they deserve to win the Stanley Cup, but I would not write off either team after one loss. That was a heartbreaking loss for Florida in game 1.
Yeah.
And you think, you could say, Nosik's done. He'll never play again. What a loser. And he flipped the puck out and all that stuff. It's, again, like I've said before, this is the playoffs. This is the beauty of it. I don't think the Oilers are going to be shattered. They weren't shattered down 2-0 to LA.
No.
They weren't shattered when Draisaitl scored on his own net. They weren't shattered when their penalty kill was incompetent against Dallas. They weren't shattered down 3-0 to Florida last year. I'm not saying they're going to win the series. I think they can. I still think that their best might be a little bit better than Florida's best if they can get to it. Yep. I do think they're that good. But I'm not calling it series over after this game. It's 1-1. I mean, why wouldn't you think it was going to be 1-1 given the caliber of these teams?
This is great hockey. As a fan of the game, take away the teams and the cities, I'd be like, wow, lucky to watch something like that. Hernandez, what you got?
Reid, once again, we saw the second period dominated by Florida. Why do you think that's happening here in back-to-back games where Florida just finds a different gear in that second period? Oh, can you, one or two things that you're seeing that they're just taking over in that middle frame?
Well, I don't know if it's specifically a second period thing as opposed just to a Florida thing that they're good. Right. Maybe the longer change has a little bit to do with it because if you're punting, it's harder to change all five guys. Yeah. And the Oilers took some icings and had some partial shifts where they got into trouble. I just attribute it more Hernan that they're very good. And that there will be moments when either against another good team, they won't be able to handle the other team's pressure. I mean, Florida got hemmed in most of the third period last game. Yep. But I thought the second period tonight, I thought this second period was more lopsided than the game. 1 second period, and they cashed. And they outscored the Oilers 2-0. The last second period was 1-1, even though Florida dominated. But I think Florida really focused on being quicker on the forecheck tonight and harder on the forecheck, and just a little more disruptive. And like I said, they're organized. They play an angry, rugged game, and they feel it doesn't look like when they get forechecking really well. It looks like they have five forwards on the ice. It's just here's this guy, here's this guy, here's this guy, here's this guy, not going to stick away. So they executed better tonight in that second period than Edmonton was able to execute. And then I think the Oilers got hacking the puck off the wall and not looking to make a pass.
Bit sloppy.
And things like that.
Yeah. All right, you can text us 780-218-9999. Gazzola and Wilkins live at the Canadian Ice House. Huge thank you to the crew here. Big shout out to the Nasties. I saw Corey B, Tube Sock, Savage, Rip City Step, Grumpy Cat. Savage had his kidlings with him. That was great. Who else did I see as the staffer making funny faces to us? Oh, Corey B also provided me with these wonderful Elks coasters. Oh, that was nice. Yeah, cool. Really. Thank you, Corey B. That's really well done. All right. This text comes in from Ken. Ken says, as I've called him out this season, I blame the loss on Reid for factually pointing out this could have been the last home game for the Oilers. Thanks for jinxing it, Reid. All kidding aside, if I had a complaint about the Oilers tonight is they didn't match the greasiness of Bennett and accidentally on purpose falling on Skinner. An Oiler needs to accidentally run hard into Bob or accidentally give Bennett an elbow to the head. Get meaner and nastier. What would you say to Ken after that text?
I think that's an excellent point. I think Bennett is the driver for the Florida Panthers. He is an absolute greaseball, and in hockey terms, 100%. That's a compliment. Let's be honest. But yeah, he has to be made to feel pain all the time. If he's going to be around the Oilers' net, like that, then the Oilers have to be greasy with him.
To show him what he's doing is not okay.
Yes, I mean, quite frankly, I know Bouchard took a couple penalties. I didn't mind. Who did he cross-check late in the second period?
That was
Nosek,
because Nosek.
So that was the end of the first period.
But Nosek got tangled up with him, and
he might have high stick Bouchard.
Yeah, he felt like that was a bit dirty. So
that has to be done to Bennett.
Yes.
Now it's difficult to do because we saw what he's going to do when he wrestles Bouchard down after the whistle, and Bouchard gives him a 3 out of 10 intensity slash and drops to one knee, and then when the linesman comes in, Bennett gives Bouchard a 6 out of 10 intensity slash. So I mean, but like the Panthers don't care. Like they don't care about honor or referees.
No.
Or well, maybe honors over. Maybe that's a little mean on my part.
Well, that's a loose term.
But they just want to win. Like they are miserable. Like I always said, Vegas was. Like they have that title now. I think the Oilers are quite miserable. The Oilers are not angels. Don't get me wrong. But Bennett needs to be targeted. Like he absolutely needs to be. He needs to have pain inflicted on him in front of the net.
Show him it's not okay to play the way he plays against you.
If Stu wants to slash him, fine by me.
Yeah.
If you have to kill off a penalty because you cross-check him, that is all fine by me. That's the game. And I don't often condone this to this level, but like he is a greasy player. He's a very good player.
Yep.
And he's different from Tkachuk because Tkachuk will not engage you unless he really, really feels like it.
Right.
You know, like he is. I know he's a very strong player, but he will fight you on his terms. Four Nations face-off.
Yep.
I want to fight you off the opening face-off, okay? Okay.
Right.
I guess I have to.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Was that the Tampa Bay guy?
That was Hagel.
So
great fight.
But Bennett is more like I will whatever. I'm just going to do it all the time.
Right.
Tkachuk's a little more like, I can't believe. That's okay. And he's been kind of, I don't know. He was better tonight. He hasn't been awesome in this series. But Bennett is the guy. Bennett, like Barkov's obviously a great player.
Yeah.
They have great defensemen. Verhaeghe, can make good plays.
Yeah.
Rodriguez has his little bursts, whatever. Bennett is the guy. If they can slow him down somehow and make him feel pain, I think that changes the whole rhythm of how they play.
Well said. Very well said as well. Okay, we're going to go back inside the locker room real quick. We're going to hear from John Klingberg before we hear from Kris Knoblauch. Nanso, let's fire away on John Klingberg.
Final, but is this one pretty close to home, just the way things unfolded?
Yeah, we were able to win game one in overtime, and they took the one today. So, I mean, it's hockey. 1-1.
Show how fine the line is in these games, Exhibit A and Exhibit B.
Yeah, I think so. It's very close out there. It's not a lot of room and ice out there, but I mean, we're battled back, scoring that goal, got some momentum, had some good chances in overtime as well as them. So it's a balance here and there.
John, the second period seems to be giving you guys trouble. Can you put your finger on maybe why? Is it the long change, or is it something else that,
I mean, you're never going to play a perfect 60 minutes. If it's in the first period, the third period, the second, I can't put a finger on it. But I think, like you said, if you control the puck most of the time in the second period, you're going to have fresh legs and have an easier way to change.
Yeah. So what's their forecheck like, and what do you have to do to counteract it?
Yeah, they're a big forecheck team. They're pinching hard as well, so I think we're doing a pretty good job though. We're coming back as five. It's not just on the D to break out the puck. I think the forwards are doing a good job on the walls, and we're having a low center as well. So communication and coming back in the zone.
Kris Knoblauch said he doesn't like you guys chipping the puck out because it just comes back in. So I guess, in a situation where they're forechecking hard, how do you kind of combat that when you're a puck possession?
Yeah, and I think that's maybe where they won the second period a bit. When you get tired, you chip it to a spot, and then they just keep flushing you. So I think it just comes to when you have a chance, you got to try to get that momentum first and get them on their heels a bit.
John, what do you make of all the traffic that they've had around Stu Skinner, and how do you kind of combat that without having them go on top of your goaltender?
Well, I mean, we know they have players that want to drive the net. So I think it comes to us trying to box out earlier. But I mean, we're trying to drive the net too. So I don't know. It's a tough question to answer, but I mean, they're a high shooting volume team, and if you are that, I guess they're bringing people to the net as well.
Does it matter how you lose in the playoffs? You just move on to the next game, or is this one?
Yeah, it's 1-1 now, so let's just move on.
John, how about Corey Perry's goal to send that one to overtime, and just the playoffs he's been having?
Yeah, I mean, I played with him before. He's a big clutch player. It's very impressive.
playing playoff hockey, it's not easy on the body. In the 2 games in the final, you came close to playing 9 periods. What will be the challenge physically?
I mean, I guess they're traveling tomorrow. We're traveling. I mean, I guess it's just even there. Try to get the rest, eat, sleep, hydrate.
All right, there's John Klingberg. He kind of echoed what Corey Perry had to say about just brush past it. That's hockey. He actually said that's hockey as well. Corey Perry said that's hockey. So, I mean, I am encouraged by these guys, and these are veteran players, Reid. We talk about how old the Oilers are. I'm encouraged by their demeanor in these press conferences.
One team is going to lose this series.
Yep.
I do not think it's going to be because they crack. I do not think that'll be the reason. It'll come down to execution, a bounce, a penalty, an injury. Like this, I do not think either team is going to lose because they are ill-prepared mentally.
Right. Okay, further to that, Northside Neil Texan says, I'm not sure what everyone is freaking out about this loss. Maybe what Edmonton needed. It sucks. So did the first 2 against LA. Also, the late loss to Vegas or the bad third against Dallas. Edmonton's going to be mad, upset, motivated. They will go to Florida and play 3 full periods. Oilers in 5. That's from Northside Neil.
Still possible.
Still possible.
Look, I'm going to, I don't know if this was brought up tonight. I hesitate to say this because it might annoy some people, and some people said, Reid, you kind of say you don't like to talk about this too much. As I was watching this game, I thought to myself, the Oilers miss Zach Hyman.
Yeah,
because they're not getting sometimes quite enough going down low.
Yeah.
And you saw what happened with the line shuffling today, and Kapanen getting demoted, and Frederick getting some looks.
Yes.
Up there.
Did Arvidsson get a couple looks too?
He might have, yeah.
Okay.
But that Frederick's not good enough.
It's third, fourth line guy.
So
we're seeing at this the highest pace possible.
That's concerning to me. And look, I know Florida has injured guys. Ekblad took that shot to the hand. I think he came back, but who knows?
Yep.
Who did I say? Ekblad?
Yeah, he did.
So, I mean, I know things happen, and Edmonton didn't have so injuries. You can't overcome injuries. That's all I'm saying. That's concerning. That that Hyman I think was missed tonight.
100% valid. Could have still won, and we wouldn't be worrying about it. But
yeah,
and we knew. Can't dwell.
Yeah, I mean, we knew he wasn't going to play in the series.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just saying this style of game would have fit him well.
Absolutely, it would have. All right, let's go to Mark from Arizona. Says, hey, Tommy, Reid, Hernan, if everyone could step back and realize these first 2 games have been entertainment at the highest level. These games have had it all. A few passengers tonight and a few mistakes, but this series is not for the faint of heart. It's epic so far. Mark, that's a great text.
Yeah,
Mark
this is outstanding hockey.
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness. Like I said, the first period today, it's one of the best Stanley Cup final periods I think I've ever seen. And, even when a team's dominating, it's not as if they're building up a 4 or 5 goal lead and making you not watch the third period. The Oilers, even though the Oilers didn't generate a ton in the third period, they still, like I was sitting next to Matthew Iwanek, and he said, there's still the goalie pull. Like there's still basically a 2-minute power play at the end of the game, and Perry puts that one. It is incredible hockey. I've referenced this a few times. When Chris Cuthbert was on my show, he said this could be an iconic final. I mean,
I like that.
It could be. I mean, who knows? 12 or whatever days from now, we could be talking about this as maybe one of the best Stanley Cup finals ever. Now, to do that, it's probably going to have to go 6 or 7 games.
Yeah, and it could very well.
And it likely will.
Yeah, I think so. All right, let's go inside the media lounge one more time, or the media work area where they have the podium. They switched it up, obviously. Usually it's the Hall of Fame room. Let's hear from head coach Kris Knoblauch.
5 games. It's kind of, I know it doesn't take anything out of what transpired the ultimate inning here, but it's kind of what it should be, really, based on how well and how good these 2 teams are that we're even heading back to Florida.
Yeah, each game could have went either way, and obviously when you win the first one, you're disappointed you don't follow up and win the second one. But we're going there with a split, and that's fine with us. We know we're comfortable playing on the road. We've won a lot of games so far in the regular season and playoffs, so we'll get ready for Game 3.
Stay on the left in the front.
Kris, 2 straight games, the second period's been a little bit rough. What have you seen in the second that you want to see improve specifically there?
Well, no, tonight it was puck execution. I know our passes weren't sharp. We gave away a lot of pucks, so if you can't make that first pass, you're stuck in the defensive zone. You might get it out to the neutral zone, but especially in the second period, if you just get it out to the neutral zone, you can't change, and then you get stuck. And that's, I think, what happened in the second period tonight. Just the execution wasn't what we needed. We got to execute a lot better. In the first and the third, I thought that part of our game was pretty sharp, but we got to make sure we do it for the full 60.
Right side, front row.
Hey Kris, sorry, kind of in that same vein, is how do you combat that? Because, the guy said that they got tired, then they start chipping the puck and it gets recycled. Is that just a matter of
that's second period. We're not tired in the second period. You're tired, I guess, if you get stuck out there and you can't make those changes. It's different in the third period or overtime. I thought our execution this overtime, we've got that same long change as we do in the second period as the first overtime period, and I don't think that was an issue. It was just in the second, it just wasn't what it should have been.
Stay on the right in the front.
Kris, on the winning, I wonder if there's anything you look on. Tough hop and a good read there by Marchand.
Yeah, no, those counterattacks often happen. We're in attack. We get a great look. Eki comes in there, takes slap shots. We're hits the net. We're celebrating, and then fortunately it comes around, and it's a difficult read, and everyone's going one direction. Now it's coming back the other way. It's just unfortunate that it worked out that way.
Left side, third row.
Kris, you've been asked about him all playoffs long, and for good reason, but Corey Perry just keeps coming up in big situations, and again tonight to force overtime with hardly any time left.
Yeah, no, he made a lot of good plays, and he capped it off in the third period, about 30 seconds left or whatever it was to score there. But in the third period, he had a lot of opportunities. Partial breakaway, alone in front of the net a couple times. Determination, finding a way to find the puck, and then obviously putting it in the net. He's got a skill for that, and that's definitely what we're thinking about when we added him last year in the playoffs, or for the run in the playoffs. He only had 1 goal last year, but we wanted, knowing that in the playoffs it's hard to score, and you need guys around the net and finding ways, and he's as good as anybody finding ways to score.
Right side, third row.
Kris, just over here. With how close this game was and how close you were to going up 2-0 in the series, how do you and your players not go to bed tonight having thoughts of, what if?
There's going to be some disappointment, but we've had the mentality, no matter what happens, bad game, close game, overtime, heartbreaking, easy, whatever it is, we put it behind us and we have to get ready for the next one, because in the playoffs, things don't always go your way, and sometimes it works out in your favor, sometimes it doesn't. But I think we've been doing a pretty good job of responding and putting whatever happens, getting focused on the next game.
All right, that was head coach Kris Knoblauch speaking to the media following his team's 5-4 overtime loss. I don't think you're going to get too much bulletin board material out of him, but anything there you want to pluck out?
No, he went over the second period stuff, and there wasn't too much there. No, pretty level-headed as usual.
Yep, that's fair. All right, Reid, Rick, let's wind down Reid's Read, brought to you by Edmonton Garrison Memorial Golf and Curling Club. How do you see this series moving forward to Monday's Game 3 in Sunrise?
Well, I think we're in for another beauty. I think every game's going to be close. There have been moments in these two games when you thought, is one team going to pull away? No, it's unlikely that's going to happen. I think, just minor, I don't even know if I would call them adjustments. It's going to be minor reminders from the head coaches.
Yes.
Just about probably handling the pressure that the other team can bring and ways to counteract it and get the puck efficiently out of your own end. I mean, Florida gets hemmed in too.
Sure.
There were some shifts in overtime where I thought the Oilers were getting it going and couldn't finish. I mean, how long before the winning goal?
First OT, Edmonton had the majority of possession. Now, they didn't get a lot of pucks in the middle.
Marchand scored 52 seconds after Kapanen had that chance in front from Podkolzin. So,
that's right.
Like I said, it's just going to come down to managing times of the game when you're under stress and then execution.
All right, we are here at the Canadian Ice House. We will be at Boston Pizza Westgate on Monday for game number 3. We're going to have a great time. Looking forward to it. How would you describe the scene in this Canadian Ice House right now?
As well as a lot of people.
Yep.
They seem to still be enjoying themselves despite the loss.
Yep.
I can't really see very much of the space, though. I'm sorry.
It's getting windy outside. They're closing up the big bay doors. Sloppy is how I would describe it.
Well, it is Friday. People are unwinding. They clearly don't have to get up early tomorrow, not like you.
Oh, boy. That is true. Reid, fantastic work as always, my friend. Thank you for doing this.
Hey, we're going to be here next Saturday.
Yes, we will be.
Game 5. There will be a Game 5.
It is not
My apologies.
It's not a possibility.
The Oilers' final home game of the season.
It's a reality.
Yes.
Hey, all you're doing is pointing out possibilities.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's all it is. Okay, buddy. Thank you.
Okay,
Get home safe. All right.
See you, Hernan.
Reid's Reid, brought to you by Edmonton Garrison Memorial Golf and Curling Club. All right, Nat. So, do you want to get to some text, or do you want to go into the player of the game?
Let's do the player of the game, my friend.
All right, we're going to the player of the game. Brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting, consistent top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 17 years. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Reid or Hernan, go for it.
Yeah, it's got to be that little bugger. I mean, short-handed breakaway, game winner in the second OT, Tommy, +3 on the night. And 7 shots on net, 2 goals, including the game winner. Brad Marchand hits the Damon Bunting player of the game for the agency.
Well done. People are getting sloppy. They're bumping tables. I hope they don't knock drinks over on my gear, our gear. So if you're watching this, you're going, what the hell is going on? Sloppy. Yeah. Sloppy people with lots of drinking. And like Reid said, don't have to get up tomorrow. I kind of have a nice setup here where actually I have to give the Ice House crew a lot of credit. It is great. Kind of shields you from people who get a little bit too rambunctious, but there are still some that don't get it. Don't get it. All right. We'll get to a few texts, then we'll get to the the Advanced Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy turning point of the game. She keeps pushing it. Jason says, how about Nurse show up and be a factor physically? Yes, that's fair. Let's go to a couple more. Nolan from St. Albert says, I'm not worried. Every rational fan knew there would be at least one game like this versus the Panthers in a 7-game series. The boys fought hard. Oil and 6. Nolan from St. Albert follows up with, what a garbage question. Going to bed thinking, what if? Wasn't that the Panthers after game 1 and they bounced back? Yeah, but I mean, you're looking for storylines, and there's about 1 million reporters, and they're trying to throw a few things here and there to try to get a different type of response. Oh, my God, she's pushing it on purpose. This is what's happening. Unbelievable. Nikki, tell her to stop pushing the table. There we go. Nikki's the AGM here, so and those are her friends. For those wondering, yes, it's getting ridiculous. They're going to push over all the gear. So that means we're getting close to time to wind it down. Troll says, problem is we thought they were going to tighten it up after last game, but they were arguably sloppier. Troll, you're right. That is something that will need to be addressed. Deaky Spark says, frustrated to see the refs be chicken, you know what, to call too many men when Ekblad was changing. Bennett kicks Ekholm's stick to the. Yep, that's a good point. On the power play, then walks in and scores. Then they think people pay paid $3,000 to see them make brutal calls. Too afraid to make the right call. How many times does the Turtle get the high stick guys after the whistle? I didn't realize they couldn't call that penalty after a whistle. Hopefully they'll get the breaks next game. We've had a lot of people bring up the officiating. Guys, we know it's never going to be. The bar is so low. Don't ever expect them to be good because they aren't. As simple as that. All right, let's get to the Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy turning point of the game. Connor McDavid's got a team of specialists. You've got a bag of frozen peas. Get the same locker room approach trusted by the best in the game at Advantage Sport Medicine. Book your assessment today at www.advantagesportmed.ca or call 780-460-9977. You heard Reid talking about it. Great opportunity for Kasperi Kapanen on that 2-on-1. Tried the redirection, couldn't get by Sergei Bobrovsky, and then less than a minute later, the Panthers go back. They get a breakaway. Yes, Bouchard caught flat-footed. Yes, it wasn't the prettiest breakaway goal. Yes, Draisaitl maybe could have tried to check Brad Marchand on the inside instead of going to the outside of him. Bought him a split second or two, and might have been the difference, but at the end of the day, the puck does slip through the pads of Stu Skinner, and that is your Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy turning point of the game. Hernan, final thoughts from you, sir.
Yeah, it's going to be a good 2 days to recover. Both teams traveling out tomorrow. Then we're back at it Monday in Florida, Tommy, for Game 3. It's going to be another battle, man. Can Game 3 outdo what we saw today? Who knows, man? You can't count these two teams out at any point. They've been absolutely fantastic through the first two games. So, Tommy, we knew it wasn't going to be easy. We'll see what the Oilers can do in Florida on Monday. I know you're a busy boy this weekend, man. I know you need to get some rest. And all the best tomorrow in Calgary, my friend. We'll be watching.
Appreciate that, Nanso. Well said. We've had a lot of good commentary tonight. Joaquin was excellent. Reid, you just heard from him, was awesome. Nanso on his game as usual. I'll say this. I'll wrap it up with this. If I was an Oilers fan, I would not be that discouraged. I would say, hey, a break here, a break there, and it's 2-0 Edmonton. Now, it's not good for the heart palpitations, so dig in, take a deep breath, enjoy the rest of the weekend. I think they're going to be okay. They'll bounce back strong. We'll see if they can take the series lead once again on Monday in Sunrise for Game 3. We're going to be live on location at Boston Pizza Westgate for that one, 170th Street, 90th Ave, right across the street from West Edmonton Mall. We're going to have lots of fun. Shout out to all the Nasties who came out tonight. You guys are fantastic. Corey B, thank you for the Elks coasters. And for Hernan Salas, for Joaquin Gage, for Reid Wilkins, I'm Tom Gazzola. Say thank you to the Ice House crew. Thank you to everybody who watched, everybody who listened. We appreciate you guys. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.